if you're building a homestead, living rural, or trying to save money, this might save you thousands. Let's talk about why rent-to-own sheds are one of the biggest money traps. If you're new here, me and my husband are building our homestead in the Arizona desert from the ground up. So I figured that I would go ahead and sit down and have a chit chat with you guys about rent-to-own / pre-built sheds, because I thought that would be an interesting topic to talk about. Today is a nice slow day on the homestead. Elijah took the trailer into town to go pick up some electrical conduit that we need for our H-frame at the back of the property so that we can get the lines run. So he is tasked with bringing back that 10-foot metal pipe today. For me and the kids, it's just a relaxing day for us. I went out earlier this morning after he left and I auged out the remaining 6 holes for our fence line, and then I doused 2 holes in water to allow it to soak in, because we've reached the point where the auger is not making a dent anymore, and then also our tamper bar as well, the little sharp side, isn't really cutting through as fast as we want. So I figured I would go ahead and soak the holes for a little bit and then go back and take the auger to it. So probably after I get done filming this, I'll head out and see if I can make a difference or a dent. So by the time I got done doing that, the kids were awake, so we did breakfast, all the fun stuff, and then I figured that I would take care of my hair, because my hair needed some much needed love. So I keep my hair in, this is going to be a side note, I know this isn't part of the video, but I like to chit chat. So, but side note, I like to keep my hair in like these little plaits and stuff like that. And so then it makes it easier when I have to do my hair, because my hair at the root, it tangles so bad. And so usually I have all these in twists, but I figured I would go ahead and just undo the twist and then let it free range for a little bit. I feel like being out here on the land and having natural hair, the plaits is where it's at. When we first bought our land, our main goal was that we were going to go ahead and build our shed. And so if you guys are the OG subscribers, we love y'all all the same, but if you're from back then when we first started our channel, we had made a concrete block foundation for our shed to sit on the other side of the land. We put a pin in it and just stopped at the foundation because we had more things that we needed to focus on. We had just come across Terry and got Terry, and so we needed to get, the main priority was to get Terry livable, since we knew that we had a strict deadline until we were going to be on the property. So Terry ended up being a priority in getting him comfortable, livable, painted, upgraded, all that kind of stuff. So we paused on the shed build, and honestly, I'm glad that we did, because our homestead plans have completely changed. The layout has completely changed, and so having the shed on that side of the property would have been a big inconvenience for us. So now it's coming on this side of the property. So with that being said, in a long way of saying it, we always knew we wanted to build our shed. However, once we got onto the land, as you know, we have a storage container. We were originally not worried about the shed because we had a storage container, but after being on here for a little while and starting up projects again, we realized that having the storage container, one, it's annoying to open, which it's whatever, but 2, it's just not a good space to keep tools that we're working with. It's not a good workspace, and to have everything else that's stored in there. So we finally came to the conclusion that it's time for a shed. And so we need 2 separate work areas. So we ended up coming across, we knew we were going to build, but we were so close. So we knew that we wanted to build a shed, but then we came across this most beautiful shed ever. It was a 12 by 16. We originally were going to do a 10 by 20 shed, and we always were a little bit hesitant on the 10 by 20 just because it's so narrow. But when we saw the 12 by 16, we were like, we can work with the space. But it was a beautiful shed, the perfect color that I wanted, the perfect size. The window placement wasn't where I wanted. It only had 1 window, and there were some things about it that we weren't really that keen on it. But we were looking at the price and everything. We're like, okay, this is kind of doable. And we were about 99.9% getting ready to go and purchase the pre-built shed. And one of the things that drew us to the shed is they're marketed as easy, affordable, and you don't have to do any credit checks if you were going to finance. So that was kind of those bling, bling, bling. That's like, everything sounds good. But after crunching numbers and digging into the fine print, we walked away as fast as possible and we're like, yeah, no, this isn't going to work for us. Okay, so we're gonna start with the biggest red flag, which is the price. So the shed cost $7,000, and by the time that we were going to be done with the rent to own process, if we were going to do a rent to own, we would end up paying $14,000 for it, $11,000 or $14,000 for it. And do you want to know what the kicker is? It's not even like a loan where you're paying interest. All the extra money is just going into pure markup for the shed. So no equity building, no payoff benefits, what some places do. And then they're just inflated payments that are just stretched over time. So the next thing about the rent-to-own process was that even though the shed is on your land, even though you're responsible for it, it's not yours. You miss a payment, they can come and take it. Doesn't matter if you paid on it for years, you improved it, you wired it, insulated it, or converted it. One missed payment and it's gone. I know I always see on YouTube all of these different videos of people touring different shed places and all that kind of stuff. And lo and behold, there's always a repossessed one where you open it up and it has partial electrical wiring, drywall, insulation, and it's just gone now. It's just being sold. Rent-to-own businesses, when they're doing rent-to-own sheds, the part that they don't advertise is that if the shed gets damaged in a storm, if it has structural issues, if it warps, leaks, or settles, that's on you. You're paying like an owner with the security of a renter. And the rent-to-own sheds, they're marketed for homesteaders, rural families, people avoiding debt, people without perfect credit. They know you want a quick solution, no bank involvement, something that's more temporary, but that temporary shed can quietly become one of the most expensive structures on your land. Here's what most people don't realize. For the same money or less, and I can guarantee you it's going to be for less because Elijah and I crunched the numbers of how much it would cost us to do a outright, just buy it cash, a rent-to-own option versus us actually building it, and us building it is significantly less than going and get the pre-built shed. Basically, for that same money that you're putting into the uppriced shed, you can buy a used shed outright from somebody. You can build one yourself over time. You can pay cash for the materials, or you can just hit a pause button on everything and you can spend like the next 6 to 12 months and save up for the shed so that you can avoid debt entirely. We're choosing to build slowly. Yes, it will take longer, but we own everything we built. No repossession, no contracts, no surprises. So even though rent-to-own sheds are a easy option, just remember that they're designed to cost you more while feeling easier. And on a homestead, easy almost always comes with a price. Now, if you're someone who is not going through the rent to own option, but you still want a pre-built shed, you could probably build the shed for like $4,000 versus a $7,000 shed that you're gonna buy. But you're paying that up price if you're gonna buy it outright for convenience. And as we know in the society that we live in today, anything convenient is always gonna cost you some type of money. Is gonna cost you. And so, you know, there are some people out there who don't have the time to build the shed. They don't have, you know, the ability to build a shed, where those pre-built sheds are a great option for them for a small, you know, for an increased premium. But, you know, if you find yourself being someone who has to choose the shed option, the pre-built shed option, the best thing would be to save up for it rather than getting yourself stuck in that rent-to-own option, because the whole point of buying land and doing all that kind of stuff is to cut down on bills, to escape the city, you know, to get out of the system, and then you go and get a shed payment and you're putting yourself right back into that system that you got out of. And that's one of the things that Elijah and I did not want. We did not want to be stuck with a payment plan, because our expenses right now are super low, and we were like, we don't want to add any more to our expenses if we don't have to. So we're just going to go ahead and suck it up, and we're just going to build the shed. We did find some shed plans. They are different. If you had seen our shed video, I had showed some plans. The shed is completely different. We bought some plans from online, and it is a beautiful shed. It's kind of inspired by the other one that we were going to get. But it's nice. It's a nice shed. So when you guys see it, we'll show you bits and pieces. We'll mainly show you the interior, but after we get it built in, like the outside. But once we probably start putting on the finishing touches of it, we may not show the outside as much, just for privacy reasons. But it is just trust me when I say it is a beautiful shed. If this video saved you money or helped you think twice, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and share this video with someone who is contemplating going the prefab shed route or the rent-to-own shed route. And if you are someone who wants to see how we are building out our homestead and avoiding a lot of these typical homestead off-grid honey traps, then make sure you stick around and subscribe. So I will go ahead and see you in the next video. Bye.